Hey y'all, it's Chris from Front Sight. We have got to do a better job. And by we, I mean anyone that wears a red shirt. Now, what do you mean by red shirt? Well, in my police department, if you're a firearms instructor on the range, or an instructor for really anything, but specifically for the range, you wear a red shirt just to kind of signify that, hey, if you have questions, there's an issues, or someone wearing a red shirt comes up to you to kind of give you guidance, that is an instructor, not some random person that thinks they know better than you do. So we as red shirts have got to do a better job. Now, when I say that, I don't mean just us as a police department or law enforcement in general. I mean everybody, right? We have all got to do a better job at really pushing the right information and good information, really, to everyone that wants to learn how to shoot. Now, I want to talk to you for a minute about what specifically that I saw that really kind of set me off. And then we'll talk about law enforcement and other stuff in general. So what set me off today were these two pictures. I'll show you this first one and this one here. Now, what really set me off about these two pictures is they're sailors on some ship and they're doing some pistol training. Maybe they're doing a qualification. I don't really know. But there's a lot wrong in these pictures. A lot wrong. And for those of you that watch this content, you've probably already seen the picture of the Navy commander that was relieved of command because of a picture that got out of him shooting this M4, of him shooting his M4, and the scope was backwards, right? And his foregrip was way too far. It was just messed up. Somebody set him up for failure, and I really, really hope that nobody is setting these sailors up for failure. Okay, so a lot wrong with these pictures, and in this first picture here. This one here, you can see how the young lady is holding her pistol, and she's got what we call a teacup, almost like a teacup and saucer method. Let me show you what I mean. When we talk about a teacup and saucer method, we're talking about you holding a pistol. Oh, by the way, this is my M18, and yes, it is empty. The magazine, nothing inside the chamber. Don't have to worry about it. You grip it with your strong hand. I am right-handed, and your support hand should come up alongside of the pistol to get a good thumbs forward grip. And what this does is maximize hand on gun pressure, right? And you don't have any gaps here. Because what happens is when this gun wants to move, it is going to move and take the path of least resistance. Which means if there's an air pocket between your hand and the gun, it's going to move in your hand and it's going to defeat your grip, right? So looking at that photo, you noticed that this is kind of how they were holding their gun. The problem with this is this space right down here, even with the magazine, it caused that pistol to recoil and heal on that individual as shown in that photo, right? So as it went back, it almost went all the way up like this. And that's a problem. It's a problem when you're talking about follow-up shots or faster, like 2, 3, 4 shots coming after the first one, because you want to make sure that you can maintain that sight picture and you can maintain that recoil so you can get more faster follow-on shots. Okay? That's the first problem. And if you notice in the second picture, there's a whole line of sailors doing something wrong, right? A lot of things wrong. And I'm not going to get into all of it right now, but a lot of it looks to be grip, stance, and presentation. And what that says to me as a firearms instructor, it's necessarily not about that they have been taught wrong or that they've been taught something that most people wouldn't teach somebody. And that could very well be a case, like, they could be taught something different or wrong. To me, it's a mindset issue. So it looks to me like a lot of sailors don't typically carry firearms, like sidearms like this, right? They don't typically do that. A lot of soldiers don't typically carry firearms. In fact, the only time that they carry firearms is when they're at the range shooting, right? The overwhelming majority of military personnel don't carry a firearm on a daily basis, right? Not like you'd see in civilian law enforcement. And so why I say mindset is you have a bunch of guys that have a job. They all have different jobs in the military, right? Every job you can think of in the civilian world, there's a job just like it in the military, and then some. So you might have clerks. You might have cooks. You might have someone that mops the floor. Oh, wait, that's the newest sailor. So you're going to have people that don't really have the wherewithal or the mindset to really take this information on how to utilize this firearm and utilize it properly, right? They're probably just doing it just to check the box. Okay, that's unfortunate. I've seen a lot of military personnel that go to the range just to check the box because they have to. And typically it's people that don't really like shooting, and that's fine. You don't have to like shooting, but when you raise that right hand and you swore to defend and protect this country and the Constitution and the people in it, you really need to change your mindset on, if you get called up to handle one of these, you're going to need to be able to do it properly, right? So we need to have that mindset. We need to change the mindset of everyone that's in the military, in law enforcement, even if they don't like shooting. We need to get them to find a way to get them to at least appreciate the training that they're receiving and to apply that training to whatever drills that they're doing, so that way when the time does come, if it comes, and the time chooses them, they're ready when that time comes. So I said that about the Navy. I'm sure we can find hundreds of pictures about every other branch of service, especially the Air Force, shooting and doing kind of weird things. But I also want to talk about the instructor culture as a whole. So instructors sometimes will throw on a vest. They'll throw on a patch that says, I'm an instructor. Just right here. See, I'm an instructor. And they throw on this tactical gear and they act like they know everything about everything. And I've seen a few of them like that. And they really don't treat themselves to taking classes. They really don't make themselves a student. They're always the instructor. And that's a dangerous thing, because when all you do is drink your own Kool-Aid, you're bound to miss something. And so we need to really make sure that we as instructors are taking classes, going out and finding more information, doing research, whether it's online on YouTube or if it's on Rumble or wherever you can find the information. But take that information and don't just regurgitate it. Take it, apply it to what you are doing as an instructor, making sure that it meets your parameters of what you've been teaching and what kind of works, what doesn't, what's legal, right? If you're in law enforcement, does it meet a law enforcement objective, right? There's a lot of things like that we have to make sure that we do, that we can't do as just random civilian instructors sometimes, right? So we got to make sure that we're verifying the information we're getting is good, and we're providing that information to the right customer base, right, with the right clientele. Now, why do I say that? Well, you have a lot of instructors out there that teach a lot of competition style shooting, and that's great, because a lot of people now, you got people like, accountants, doctors, whoever, that want to just learn to shoot and go shoot and compete, and that's awesome. They love the tactical games. That's great. The problem with competition shooting is you can't apply all of it to law enforcement shooting. Not all of it. I'll give you an example. In law enforcement, if I draw my gun, it's not always bang bang. In fact, it's rarely ever, and it's never has been bang bang. It's always been police don't move. So I can't prep the trigger. In a competition, to be faster, when you draw that gun, you start prepping the trigger as you come up and press out. Right? So that way when you get to that full extension, the gun goes bang. And you're on target. In law enforcement, we can't do that, right? So again, as an instructor, if you teach competition shooting, but you also teach law enforcement, you have to know the difference. You have to know what you can and can't teach, can and cannot teach certain individuals based on what their abilities are or what kind of job set they're doing, right? Just like you wouldn't teach a competition shooter to not prep the trigger, right? So there's some things you would do and not do based on whatever kind of job, if you're doing the job or if you're doing competition just for fun. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for more information on how to shoot, if you're looking for good instructors, Front Sight was created specifically to help you find good instructors, right? So Cypress Tactical Solutions here in Charleston, South Carolina. My buddy Jason, fantastic instructor, teaches mostly civilians, but cops can take classes too. But he teaches pistol and rifle, right? A lot of really good information in his classes. You can find him on cypresstacticalsolutions.com. You can find him online on Facebook. Here soon you'll be able to find him on Front Sight. And you can take a class. Even if you have 15, 20, 25 years behind a gun, go to a class. You might pick up something that you didn't know before. In fact, I urge you, if you've got a lot of years behind the gun, to go take a class and try to find something new or find a new way to take some information that you have and find a better way to develop that information to give to somebody else, right? So if there's some sort of analogy or some sort of joke or something that helps somebody else down the line, pick that up and take it with you, right? It's always good to pass that information along. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it. Took up a good bit of your time. I'm not trying to take up too much of your time this evening, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you watching. I hope you get something out of it. If you are an instructor and you have some tips, maybe some cool things, or maybe some jokes about the Navy, feel free to share them down in the comments. But I appreciate it if you like, subscribe to my channel, share this information with other people. If you know other people out there that have this business, that whether it be firearms, selling guns, or teaching, or a range, or whatever, shoot them my information, tell them about Front Sight, and let's get them on Front Sight so they can get the word out to everyone around them as well. Well, I appreciate y'all. We'll catch you on the next one. Welcome to the revolution. Welcome to Front Sight.